she starts spelling out words on Tamara's palm.
Stop.
One letter at a time.
Oh my God.
Her first word spelled out, need a plan. And Tamara wrote back one word, knife. Who's ready for your cortisol levels to spike?
Is that means you're stressed?
Stress, yeah.
I know it's a buzzword and it's something you want to regulate because everyone tells me that.
Well,
but
this story won't do it.
I don't really know what that means. Okay, great.
I gotta say, lately you listeners have been rocking the case suggestions. There have been like 3 in the past week that I've added to the list. And you know what's really helpful is when you tell us what the batshit thing is, what the plot twist is, whatever, right up front. You can spoil it for us.
Please do.
Because sometimes when we just get a name, I'll like Google it really quickly on the quick second that I have. And it's a very minimum, headline, like woman convicted of murdering her husband. And it's horrible, I'm sure.
Sure.
But I can't really get into the details of that article. So just like it kind of fades out of my mind.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, that's much preferred. Ruin it for us.
Yeah.
That's actually really helpful. And actually, to be honest, a really quick way for me not to Google something is when we get an email with just a name in it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But overall, very much appreciate it.
Love it.
Love it. And I'm sorry, I don't remember who exactly suggested this one. I tried to look for your original email, DM, wherever it came from, and I can't find it. So.
You know who you are.
Thank you. But first, one other thing, and then I'll get started into the story, promise. Paul Fronzac has a new podcast. It's called Fronzac Files. But okay, I covered this story in episode 82. So if you're going backwards and don't want spoilers, just skip ahead like 30 seconds. But for the rest of you, it's the guy who was mistakenly raised as a kidnapped boy. This couple had their baby kidnapped from the hospital, and about 2 years later, they found, air quotes, him. And when he was 10, he saw all the newspaper clippings, and but his parents didn't want to talk about it, how he's kidnapped, because he was rescued and everything was fine. But he grew up always wondering, and he did a DNA test in 2012 and found out he was not actually related to the people who raised him, his parents. Right. I mean, obviously, they're still his parents, but
right.
Yeah. So biologically they weren't related. So now he has to figure out who he is, the whole thing.
It is the most insane story. Sorry. I just have to. It's crazy.
I mean, each detail is crazier than the last.
Yeah.
So he has a podcast now to tell it in his own words, tell his story. This is the season 1 of Fronzac Files. So I guess season 2 is going to be on another case. Anyway, I think it'll be good. And I hope that they find shit out, because there was a lot of questions around his story. And I'm sure a lot of details that, a third party podcast don't have.
Yeah. That only he could know.
Yeah. Like only he could know. And he's going to reveal it all. So that's my spiel. Go listen.
Check it out.
Fronzac Files. And they're also on YouTube, so you can look at him because he is such a silver fox.
I mean, he is a dreamboat. I've got to say, I don't want to sound like I'm demeaning him. His story's unbelievable, but Google him.
Hot.
Google him. He's hot. Damn.
He was a stand-in for George Clooney in Ocean's 11 or something, and I was like, that makes sense.
There it is.
Okay. Today, I am telling you about Roy Dean Ratliff. Sources: New York Times, People Magazine, CBS, Star Herald, The Ledger, Desert News, LA Times, Spectator Herald.
Are you serious?
I swear to God.
There's no way I haven't heard of this. Like, what are you talking about?
A Larry King Live from 2002 that I read the transcript of. I know it sounds like a giant case, but I bet you've never heard of it. And I guess we'll get into the reason a little bit why after I tell you about it.
Okay.
I mean, maybe you have. We'll see. We're in Lancaster, California, which is about an hour north of Los Angeles.
Okay.
17-year-old Jacque Marris is the oldest of 3 kids and a very hardworking student. She's a cheerleader and a surfer, typical teenager. She lived with her mom and stepdad, whose job, her stepdad, is to drive the truck that makes snow and rain for movie sets.
Stop.
Isn't that cool? I kind of don't get it, but I guess rain and snow effects are done or can be done via truck, and he drives one of those trucks.
Wow.
I don't know. It's cool though. I wanted to include it.
What a specific job.
On August 1st, 2002, Jacque was amped to start her junior year and decided to go out with a friend, Frank Malero. Some sources call him her boyfriend. Some say it was a friend. Who knows? But they decided to go to this popular spot in Quartz Hill, which has a great view of Palmdale, California. It's top of the city vibes, and also known as somewhat of a makeout spot. Like Lover's Lane was a term used more than once, which makes the story sound like it's set in the 50s, but it's not. 2002. It was just after midnight, and they were about to leave to make Jackie's curfew when all of a sudden Frank feels a gun against his head through the open window. The man demanded money, so they gave him $60, and he ordered Frank to get the rope that was in the back of his truck bed. Bed truck. Yeah. The entire time Frank said he was trash talking. I think Frank even used in one article the term mobster-like, but it really just sounds like a cheesy kind of 80s movie. Like he would say, he would like shove Frank and say shit like, "You think you're a tough guy, huh?" Like, I'm like,
oh, the guy with the gun?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And Frank's like, "I don't know where I'm being very cooperative. I'm scared shitless. No, I'm not trying to be a tough guy." But regardless, this guy would talk shit and then repeatedly punch Frank in the face. He forces him into the driver's seat. And just as he's pulling out his duct tape, a water and power worker pulled up in the area. Unaware of what was happening, obviously, but he was going up there to do work on like one of the utility poles or something. And this man kind of used his body to block the entire driver's side window and told Frank and Jacque if they made a sound, he would kill them. So they just sat and waited for the utility worker to do his make his rounds or whatever he was doing. And the entire time, the man is tapping his gun on the side of the car. And Frank said it was the worst part of the whole thing. Which,
oh, wow.
Definitely not the worst part.
Sure.
Frank, but he said it was so eerie to just hear that slow tap. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. After the utility worker left, he duct tapes Frank's hands to the steering wheel and his head to the headrest.
Ooh. I don't like that one bit.
And then he tapes his eyes and mouth shut. He starts to tape Jacque up, but then decides against it and opted for plan B, which is to take her instead. He pulls her out of the car and leads her to a nearby white Ford Bronco.
Stop.
Bad juju.
That is.
I know. And all
is it OJ? Is this OJ?
No, this is 2002. I think OJ is already in jail for sports memorabilia.
Yeah, no, that was way after, I think. I want to say 2010.
But he was later convicted and incarcerated for armed robbery.
He was get his.
Yeah, he 2008. Okay. 2008. Oh man. Yeah, I was way off. And it had to go through her mind though. She's in greater LA area too. So she's probably like, oh my God.
So where'd you get this car?
Yeah. All you can hope for is that Al Cowlings is in the front seat.
For real.
And he wasn't. He wasn't.
Oh, he was not there?
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he forces her in the back seat. And as he's getting into the driver's seat, she sees a pair of legs laying next to her. She thought it was a dead body, but it was actually bound 16-year-old honor student Tamara Brooks from Palmdale, California, and she was still alive.
Okay.
You see, minutes before Jacque and Frank pulled into that overlook spot, there was another couple there, Tamara Brooks and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Eric Brown. This monster told them he wanted two things, their money and the car. So it was Eric's Bronco. He blindfolded Eric and led him over to a nearby post, like a utility pole, I'm like, why did the worker not see him? But I can't envision this area. Maybe it's giant. I have no idea. So I don't know. But kind of led him to a nearby pole. And he was rambling on the way there. He was rambling about something that Eric couldn't make out. He was like, what are you
okay.
talking about? So then he starts thinking out loud about, should I kill this kid or not? This poor guy, blindfolded with a gun pressed to his head as he's being walked over. And as this man's tying him to the pole, Eric begs for his life and to be spared. And the man says nothing and walks away. So he goes back to the Bronco and starts tying Tamara to one of the arm seats in the back. Mind you, he has already said he's taking the car. So now she realizes, oh, motherfucker, he's abducting me.
Yeah.
But the lump in her throat is so big she can't speak or beg for her life. She just sits there. Once she's bound in the back seat, he sees Frank and Jacque pull up. And I think his intent was going to be just to rob them, just to get some extra money. But when he saw Jacque, he saw an opportunity to victimize another person that night.
Sure.
So he had both girls in the Bronco. Both guys were tied up, unable to do anything about it. That is until 1-something in the morning when Frank finally wiggles his way out of his restraints, or at least gets a hand out so he can reach his cell phone and call his sister.
Oh.
I don't know the circumstances around not calling 911.
Okay.
But he calls his sister and tells her he's been robbed and he's bound to the driver's seat.
Okay, the two dudes are not tied up together.
No.
Okay. One's in the driver's seat of
his
the
own car.
And then the other's to the pole, utility pole. Okay.
So Frank doesn't tell his sister that Jacque was abducted because at this point, I don't think he knew she was. Remember, Frank was blindfolded when Jacque was taken. I'm sure all he heard was like the man saying, get out or something. I don't know. And I think the Bronco was parked far enough away where I don't think he could hear it drive off or start, So I think he just assumed Jacque was tied up elsewhere.
Okay. Never mind.
I know. And remember, even if when he gets out of his restraints or most of his restraints and gets the duct tape off his mouth, Jacque still had hers on. So even if he was like, Jacque, and she didn't answer, he'd be like, oh, she's bound. She can't. I don't know.
Yeah. This area must be huge then.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Because one source said he looked over and saw Eric tied to the pole, and which would make sense why he must have thought that Jacque was tied up elsewhere. But I couldn't find that, or I couldn't find that confirmed anywhere. So I don't know. But so his sister calls 911 to report the robbery around 1:50 a.m. So nearly 2 hours later. And cops responded relatively quickly, but again, thought it was a simple robbery report they were taking. So likely wasn't, a sirens blaring type of rush.
Mm-hmm.
But once they get there, find Frank and Eric and realize it was a kidnapping of not one, but 2 girls, the hunt is on.
Hell yeah.
The man blindfolded both girls for about 30 minutes as he aimlessly drove in the middle of nowhere, swigging a fifth of whiskey. Oh. He put a noose around the necks using the rope he stole from Frank, and then he tied it to each other and duct taped their mouths and hands.
Oh, that tied the rope around. Yeah. They're bound together.
They're bound together. They both have nooses on their necks, and it's tied together.
Do they all know each other, these kids? Okay.
No, that's what I'm about to get. Tamara and Jacque did not know each other before this incident, but kept like rubbing each other's arms in comfort, holding hands. Yeah. They hadn't so much as spoken a word to each other, but they had a mutual understanding that they were in this together.
Yikes.
At one point, he stopped for gas and untied Jacque so she could go to the bathroom, and she very easily could have run away, but didn't want to risk him taking his fury out on Tamara and killing her. So even being a stranger, she did not want to leave his other victim alone.
Yeah.
Shortly after the abduction, he pulls over to a remote location and sexually assaults both of them. Literally no other details are given about that. Not that y'all necessarily want them, but their assaults and rape are very general, and we'll get in again to why at the end.
Well, they're like 16, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Well, yeah, it is. But it kind of, this case opened the door to a very interesting discussion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let's chat.
Well, I can chat at the end because y'all don't know everything yet.
Okay.
So now that he got what they assumed he wanted, they were hopeful that he would just drop them off somewhere, but that's not what happened. He kept reassuring them that he's going to take them back to Quartz Hill, but then he would like snap and start driving deeper into the desert. It's all very bizarre. He's definitely having some internal struggles with what to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
He would be compassionate for 1 minute, saying he didn't want to do this wasn't him, etc. But then seconds later, cock the gun and hold it to their face. Like, I hate those mind games. These
I know. Get out of here.
So mid-drive, Jacque silently grabs Tamara's hand. Obviously not being able to talk to her, she starts spelling out words on Tamara's palm.
Stop.
One letter at a time.
Oh my God.
And Tamara immediately got what she was doing. She picked up what Jacque was putting down.
Holy shit.
Her first words spelled out, need a plan. And Tamara wrote back one word, knife.
Whoa. Yes.
Remember, this is her boyfriend's car. So she knows Eric keeps a Bowie knife in there and she knows where it is. So just after dawn, it's been hours, they pulled onto a very remote dirt road in the Mojave Desert, 130 miles from where they were abducted. The man got out and test fired both of his guns into the canyon. He had two guns. I don't even know if I told you that, but he has 2 guns.
Okay. But also, they've been driving for 6 hours and they're 130 miles away?
They were about...
he stopped to be a piece of shit. Okay.
Yeah. And he was driving around aimlessly for 30 minutes. They've been with them since just after midnight. I say about around 12:30. And before dawn, I take as 5 a.m.-ish.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Sure.
Whatever. Hours too long to be with this asshole.
Right.
So he starts target practice while his victims are in the car watching. These fucking mind games. But leaving the girls alone meant they were finally able to talk. And they agreed to fight him.
Yes.
Mind you, their wrists are duct taped together. So they have to figure out how to get out of that first. But Jacque said the moment she figures that out, she's going to grab that knife and stab him.
He has 2 guns. I'm so scared.
I know.
Okay.
This is the level spiking.
I see what you meant.
When the man returned to the car, though, he noticed the knife in the holster on the gear shifter and pulls it out. He slid his nasty little finger over the blade and threatened to use it on them. But before he was able to, the whiskey caught up with him.
Oh, hell yeah.
The heavy drinking took its toll, and he decided he wanted to sleep for a few minutes. Okay, bye.
Good night.
Snug as a bug in a rug.
We'll wake you up in 20.
Both guns were in his lap, and the knife was back in its holster. They mouthed their plan to each other, which was to get out of their restraints, and Jacque was going to grab the knife and stab him in the throat while Tamara hits him in the head with the whiskey bottle.
Oh my God. I'm very nervous.
They were too scared to just open the car and run because if he woke up, he could, again, 2 guns on his lap.
But what? Sorry, can't they each grab a gun?
I don't think, if you don't know how to shoot one, I don't know.
Yeah.
What if it's one of the ones you have to really, it's a semi-automatic. I know nothing, and my husband's not here to tell me, but it was a semi-automatic. So is that the one you have to cock back and it takes some muscle?
Don't know.
See, and they probably don't either. So I don't know if I'd risk that. I think I would open the door. I think I would take the gun and then open the door.
Just
I was
about to say
something, but
I maybe not even use the gun, but get it out of his possession.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. That sounds victim blamey, so let's not.
No, it's not. I think whenever anyone hears these type of stories, you think, "What would I do? Would I do that? Would I do?" No one knows, but.
I'm not trying to sound victim blaming.
I know.
It sounds like because of the details we know that they survived. So screw what I would do.
No,
they did everything right. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, good.
But yeah, they were too scared to just open the car door and run because again, he could shoot them as they're running away. They don't know. Mm-hmm. So they start working to get their ties undone, but we're struggling. So they started licking the duct tape over their mouths until, it fell off. It became no longer adhesive. And then they were able to unwrap their hands, I assume with their teeth, whatever.
Yeah.
Then their feet, etc. Jacque very quietly reaches over to the holster, unsnaps it, and pulls the knife out. While Tamara picks up the whiskey bottle, which is right next to him.
Shit.
They each had their moments of hesitation where Tamara was scared she wouldn't be able to like hit him hard enough to do anything other than infuriate him.
Right.
Especially in a car. You can't get that
I'm
full
scared of
swing.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Because like the swing can't go over your head. That's like the hardest you could hit.
Yeah.
You would want to swing over your head, but she can't. She's in a car.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd feel the same way. And Jacque was scared that she couldn't actually stab someone. And even if she could, she didn't know where. She doesn't know where the fatal spot to aim for is. So she got really close to him and looked for the pulse in his neck.
Oh my God.
Figuring that's a safe bet, which that's right.
Oh my God.
Those carotid arteries, girl.
Yeah. Oh God.
But again, she started to doubt herself. And as soon as she mouthed, "What if this doesn't work?" his eyes flickered and there was no more time to think.
Stop.
Jacque slammed the knife into his throat and 16-year-old Tamara smashed his face with the glass bottle.
Oh my God.
His eyes popped open in shock and his instinct was to immediately open the car door. So they both jumped in the front seat and kicked him until he fell out of the car. Then they closed and locked it.
Are you serious?
How badass is that?
Y'all are badass.
He's on the ground and bleeding profusely, and one of them jumps into the driver's seat, prepared to haul ass away. But before they can, he stands up, and they are face to face with nothing but the window in between them. And then he holds up his gun and the keys to the car.
Shit.
It's like in Scream.
No.
When Neve Campbell had managed to lock herself in the car.
Yeah.
And she's frantically looking for the keys to escape, and the killer taps his knife on the window and holds him up.
This is so insane.
How insane is that?
Oh,
he has
no.
the fucking keys.
And both guns?
And both guns.
Shit.
Jacque missed his jugular. So while it hurt like hell, it was not fatal, and he is enraged.
Oh my God.
He points the gun at the driver's side window and starts yelling at them to unlock the door immediately or he'll kill them. And they're trying to like diffuse the situation, talking to him through the window, begging not to be killed. And he steps back and points the gun in their direction and shoots right over the car.
Oh
like
God.
As a warning shot.
Yeah.
So they have no choice. They unlock the door and let him in, not knowing what the consequences will be, and petrified.
Oh.
You thought it was over after that fight?
I really did.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
God. Surprisingly, he didn't immediately kill them, but he did tell them one of them will have to die.
No.
I know. He said he can't handle both of them. So he had some
Yeah, that's right. You can't, because they're badass.
Right.
They're like, we'll figure something else out. Don't worry about it.
Right. So he did suggest a sick little game, because when they attacked him, his glasses fell off his face, and he said, whoever finds them gets to live. And they told him, no. They said, find your own glasses. We're in this together. You're not going to pin us on it against each other. Fuck off.
Good for them.
And he went silent and started driving toward the highway, constantly wiping the blood that was pouring out of his neck. But you can tell he's just like stewing. He's enraged and becoming unhinged, which is so scary. So they asked him why he was doing this to them. And he said they didn't do anything. He was mad at someone and was going to take it out on them.
Fuck you.
Meanwhile, both families were at the police station waiting for updates, but Tamara's mom was in South Korea at the time, visiting her oldest daughter.
Oh, shit.
So getting a call that your daughter was kidnapped from across the world, not even missing, where you can like talk yourself out into something else. Maybe she's with friends. No, she got a call that said your daughter's boyfriend was carjacked and she was taken.
Oh, God.
Now hop on your 11-hour flight and get back here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Jacque's mom said she knew it was really bad when cops made a command post and started bringing in food and coffee, which right there, you're like, it's going to be a long night. And clearly very little progress has been made because you are bringing in food and coffee.
Yeah.
But what really gave her a sinking feeling was around 6 a.m., the FBI pulled up.
Oh, shit.
You see it by this point.
Actually.
No,
great.
Yeah. By this point, the news has hit every TV in the area. This abduction was being blasted everywhere. And a woman called the police station, very clearly upset, scared, all the feelings, And she tells the police she can't be 100% certain, but she has a hunch that her husband is the one responsible.
Oh.
Her husband is Roy Dean Ratliff, and he is a very dangerous fugitive with nothing to lose.
Oh, shit.
Ratliff spent 10 years in prison for felony theft and drug charges. Then he was arrested for possessing a controlled substance. He was paroled in July 2001, and within 3 months of his release, he raped his 19-year-old stepdaughter and was charged with 5 counts of sexual assault. Then he goes on the run because, remember, California is a 3-strike law, and that rape was his 3rd strike.
Three strike.
3 strikes and you're out. Yeah. What I say?
Well, you said 3-strike law, but I get it. Yeah.
For some knowledge, the 3 strikes and you're out law was passed in 1994 in response to murders of Kimber Reynolds and Polly Klaas. Kimber was an 18-year-old, and she was leaving a restaurant when a couple of guys tried to grab her purse off of her arm. And before she even realizes what's going on, one of the guys pressed a gun against her ear and pulled the trigger.
Ugh.
Out of nowhere, executed.
The fuck?
So sad, so cruel. And then
rare.
So, it's just, yeah. And then 12-year-old Polly Klaas, which is a very famous case, but she was kidnapped from a slumber party about a year after Kimber's murder. And she was missing for about 2 months before they arrested her rapist and murderer, Richard Allen Davis. In both cases, these people were repeat offenders. So their families pushed to change the law that if a repeat offender is charged for a 3rd violent crime, it's a mandatory life sentence.
Yeah.
Hence the 3 strikes and you're out. And its intent was to leave murderers and rapists behind bars where they belong. But how the law was originally written pretty much included any felony, not necessarily violent or serious. So it kind of led to overly harsh sentences. Example being a guy whose name I can't remember, but he was caught and charged with burglarizing 2 different homes. Then he got out of jail and stole $153 worth of videotapes from Kmart. And that 3rd one triggered the 3 strikes law, life sentence.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you said not necessarily, you said not necessarily violent or serious. And I was going to be like, well, no, they're all serious. No, I see what you mean.
No, it's defined by law what a serious felony is and a violent felony is. It's not my own personal opinion.
I was like, well, wait a minute. They're all pretty serious.
No.
Felony's not good. No, I see what you mean.
No, it's what you would expect, rape, child molestation, murder. But some that did surprise me, robbery, extortion, carjacking. And it just says certain drug offenses. I'm sure like large quantities or whatever.
Yeah.
But, so
not necessarily violent.
Just.
Well, arson's scary as shit, but.
Well, sure. But like robbery, extortion, like stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
So in 2012, they reduced the severity of it and required that all felony charges be serious or violent. Yeah. In order to trigger the life sentence. Shoplifters needn't worry.
Right.
Just some background. So Roy Ratliff was already charged with 2 strikes. Then he raped his stepdaughter in October 2001. He fled knowing she was likely going to police, which she did. And they put a $3 million warrant out for his arrest and have been looking for him ever since. Hence why FBI jumped in.
Yeah.
So when I say he had nothing to lose, he really had not. It was going to be life in prison or attempt to evade police for the rest of your life. I don't know.
Yeah.
So cops kicked things into high gear. The sheriff's department called in 300 officers from various agencies, local, federal, and state, 5 helicopters, and 3 fixed-wing aircrafts. They were not fucking around.
Let's go.
On top of that, they issue a first ever in California statewide Amber Alert. This is the case. This is the very first case they use statewide Amber Alert in California.
Wow. Wait, I have a question.
Okay.
So this piece of shit raped his stepdaughter. And his wife is the one calling saying, I think this is my husband. Is that the girl? That's the girl's mom, right?
I would
stuck
imagine.
around? She stuck around?
I know.
Okay.
And at first writing this, I was like, God, that's kind of brave of her to turn her husband in knowing he's going to get life in prison for the kidnapping of these two girls. I'm like, oh, wait, it has to be your daughter he raped. No, she's probably like, oh, I'll tell you exactly who the fuck it is. But think he raped her daughter and then fled. So she probably, I saw one article where she said that they actually divorced in 1996, but they still live together. But I'm like, God, that is a long time to live together.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That happens though. A story on my list, that's the exact situation actually.
So it's kind of fuzzy on maybe they were just living together, but even if they were married, he just fled right after. Like it was the first time he's done that. She was, for all we know, she was in the middle of divorcing him. Who knows?
Okay.
Or but she turned him in. I bet she was amped too.
Sure.
So the Amber Alert was blasted on the radio and over 300 electronic billboards along the interstate and freeway. Later that morning, a Department of Transportation flagman working on the highway was listening to the radio when he heard the Amber Alert. And only moments later, he looked up and the very Bronco was in front of him.
I mean, that stands out like a sore thumb at this point. It would today.
I know.
I will definitely remember a white Ford Bronco.
Well, he said they even made eye contact and he even got a little nod like, oh, what's up? From the passing vehicle. So he quickly grabbed a stick and scraped the license plate number into the dirt. And then and then called Highway Patrol. I want to know what that feeling's like.
I know. I'm always on the lookout when I see that.
I know. And there's another one. Okay. So shortly after this, an animal control officer who also heard the Amber Alert on her radio. At the time, she was in a very heavily wooded area about a mile off the highway in Kern County. There's a bunch of trails back there. It's very windy. So she's usually the only one back there. However, on this particular day, after hearing the Amber Alert, she's driving along and sees the white Bronco.
God. In the woods?
In the woods, through the trees.
Nothing scarier.
Like, yeah, holy shit, I got him. She immediately notifies the police to tell them, like, y'all are looking in the wrong area. This is exactly what trail he's on. She tells them everything, exactly where to find him. She's one of the many MVPs in the story.
Oh, and good. Said, we're all in this together.
I know. I love shit like that. It takes a village.
Wow.
But she said cops would have never been able to find them. So within minutes of her call, a sheriff's helicopter was seen scouring the area and spotted it. And two deputies who were also nearby start their pursuit. James Stratton and Larry Thatcher radioed for backup and followed the direction the helicopter was flying. But according to them, this was the most isolated stretches of land in the Mojave Desert, so they don't see them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's so isolated, backup unfortunately never makes it.
Oh, no.
But the helicopter has eyes on them and starts getting lower. Inside, Tamara and Jacque are panicked, huddling together in the back seat as they hear this helicopter getting louder and louder. Because Ratliff's been telling them for about 12 hours now that if cops close in on him, he's going to kill them and run. So they're actually not relieved. They're petrified. Okay, now this is where most of my sources differ. But from what I gather, here's what happened. Ratliff is becoming very unhinged, very frantic. So he stops the car and reaches in the back seat for his gun. And all of a sudden hears, "Show your fucking hands."
Oh.
It is assumed this was the moment he was going to get rid of the girls and run. And the deputies caught him right before their murder.
Holy shit.
But again, they don't know that at the time because they can't see Tamara and Jacque. They're on the ground in the back. For all they know, he's alone. But weapons drawn, they yell at him again to show his hands and get out of the car. And his response, no way. And he holds up the gun.
Oh, God.
So Officer Stratton fired one round into the Bronco, shattering the back window. So Ratliff jumps in the front seat and turns the car on. Oh, he peels out towards some trees and makes a sharp left turn and lands himself in a ravine. He's stuck.
Oh, good.
He's pressing on the gas. Nothing's happening. So the deputies run down the embankment toward the Bronco and they approach him from both sides of the car. So they are face to face with Ratliff, who has both guns in his hands. And then he turns one of them to the back seat and yells, "I've got the girls." and he presses the barrel against Jackie's head.
Oh, God.
And he tells cops that if they shoot, so will he. You better be a good shot if you're risking the lives of 2 teenage girls. So they're in a standoff.
Yeah.
No one's making a move yet. But as soon as Ratliff raised his other gun at Deputy Thatcher, both cops fired 2 bullets in his head, one in his chest.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Roy Dean Ratliff is dead as a doornail at age 37.
Oh my God, this guy's only 37?
Yeah. And actually, those were the only fatal ones. 17 shots were fired in total.
Damn. God.
They really went for it.
Tamara and Jacque all right? That's a lot of stray bullets.
Once he hit the ground, it is silent. And they're very nervous. They're about 6 feet away from the Bronco, creeping up on it, and both girls burst into tears. They hear just crying. Yeah. And the first thing they did after cops pulled them out of the Bronco was give each other a huge hug.
Oh, good.
It was the first time they cried throughout the entire ordeal, either of them.
Yeah.
This case was proof of how effective Amber Alerts are. The first ever statewide implementation of this new system worked. They successfully found the 2 kidnapped teenagers only minutes before what is assumed to be their murder. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is that this went national, obviously. They were kidnapped in the early morning hours of August 1st, just after midnight, and they were found that same day, 12 hours later, around 1 p.m.
Okay.
Obviously, the Amber Alert was sent to millions of people, which included their names, pictures, everything. And if you search their names into newspaper.com, you'll see every city's Herald or whatever your town's newspaper is. The story was likely in it the very next morning, which also, side note, is also kind of annoying when researching hard facts because not much was known only a day later. So you'll find later articles correcting something and whatever.
Yeah.
Also annoying, but I digress. Okay. So point being, the day of the abduction, news everywhere from Birmingham, Alabama to Sydney, Australia.
Damn.
I said it went national, but I guess it went
international.
About how these 2 girls were abducted and survived thanks to this new Amber Alert system. So it's mainly about that and how every state should implement it, et cetera, et cetera. This success story being prime example.
Right.
Well, on the night of their rescue at 11 p.m. on August 1st, California Attorney General Bill Lockyer appeared on CNN's Larry King Live and revealed that the girls had been raped.
Oh, okay.
And need I remind you, they are 16 and 17 years old at the time. So this kind of halted everything. A spokesperson from Kern Medical Center spoke up and said, we do not give out that information about minors, and kind of put a stop to it. He said the hospital evaluations aren't even complete yet. Like the girls were still at the hospital. They're still being evaluated. We cannot confirm that yet, but when we can, we're not going to.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy to read this transcript because Larry King keeps bringing it up.
Oh, shit.
God, dude. Later in the segment, the sheriff comes in, I guess not hearing the prior conversation.
Oh, my God.
Reconfirms it.
Stop, people.
Later making a public apology. But the victims wanted to tell their story. They wanted people to know. They said it helped them heal. It was part of their process, and they want people to know they almost killed that motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
But once it was revealed they were sexually assaulted, a ton of news outlets either pulled their story or kept their faces blurred and hid their names. And that, not that they wanted to get into the details of that, which they didn't, hence why there aren't any.
Yeah.
But again, they wanted their story to help other girls and advocate for the Amber Alert and, everything. So they continued showing their faces and telling their story, and their parents signed, waivers to allow their names and faces shown. So they went on the Today Show. They had a 48 Hours, a 2-parter in 2003, which I can't find even for purchase. I don't know why, but the website still has the summary for part 1, not part 2. So now not only were they praised for being badass fighters and survivors, but also for being renegades and changing the stigma on rape victims, because all of this brought up, a very interesting discussion.
Yeah.
SF Gate did an article where they interviewed a few of the editors who pulled the story, and asked why is that your policy to pull the story when it's rape? They said to protect victims from stigma and shame. But arguably, doing that kind of enhances the stigma and shame.
Definitely.
By hiding their name and faces and to keep any talk of assault off the table says, be quiet and stay anonymous.
Right. Well, and especially if they're saying, no, we want to not talk about that part, but
but we want to tell our story. Yeah.
Yeah. What's out there is out there. Right. So
I don't think the media should make that decision for them. I mean, it sucks. Yeah. It already did. It outed them before they gave their okay. But now that it's out there, yeah. I'm like, don't silence them.
Right.
So they went on the Today Show after that.
And on the other hand, I'm team whatever the victim's choice is. If they were to say, do not talk about the rape, I'm pissed. Now retract my name from every single thing you've ever done. Great. Sure. Then I agree with that too.
Yeah.
So whatever they want.
Yeah.
And it can be scenario by scenario, case by case. One victim may say one thing, another the other thing. So you do whatever that victim says.
Right.
To me.
But the reason any victim would want to retract their name is because of this the stigma that is all ass backwards, and we need to.
I get either way.
Yeah.
I get not wanting that out there, and I get wanting it out there. It's literally whatever that victim wants.
No, of course,
it's just how it should go.
But like on the Today Show, it was not brought up once, which was again welcomed by Tamara and Jacque. They didn't want those to give those details, so that works for them. Great, but at the same time, I imagine one way or another, they had to confirm that it was not going to be discussed. Like the station NBC, is Today Show NBC? Yeah, NBC had to confirm it, whether it was putting it into their release or. Even if a producer behind stage reminded them before going out on air, it's not to discuss it, whatever. Putting myself in those shoes, even if I don't want to talk about it, hearing someone tell me I can't talk about it would make me feel small, like ashamed.
Yeah.
Like it was something I contributed to and it should be kept under wraps. I don't know. It really got my wheels turning.
I got to think about this.
There are a lot of articles arguing that we should normalize identifying rape victims, just as we have with any other details. Like you can know all about how a minor is beaten senseless, stabbed, strangled, you name it. But rape is somehow off the table because essentially it sounds like we don't want people to paint the victim in a negative light.
Yeah.
Well, why is that a negative light? Rape is no more your fault than being stabbed, strangled, beaten, carjacked, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I thought it was very interesting. So
it's interesting. I don't know. I have to think about this.
I know.
Especially someone under 18. It's a different level of violent crime. So I could see, especially on a show like the Today Show, being like, well.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. And they liked that it was not talked about.
Yeah, then there you go. Again, I go back to that. Whatever they want.
I know. And that is my story of those badass survivors.
I know.
And the piece of shit, Dean Ratliff.
And Frank and Eric, they just were found and walked away. And we're like, no, they were taken. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, essentially, cops came up and like, where are the girls you said you were with? They can't find them. They're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and Frank's car's gone, so...
Yeah.
Or Eric. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up.
Yeah, Eric's car is gone.
Damn. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. The very first Amber Alert in California, statewide. I think local towns did a few Amber Alerts, but this was the first one that went national. And it's interesting what the media brought up with all the rape stigma, because this has never happened before. It was the first ever statewide Amber Alert where the victims' names are blasted, their pictures are blasted, and then it comes out that they were raped. It's like the media kind of freaked out, I'm sure.
Yeah. And
every
take the story away.
Yeah. Every article's already been released. Literally, if you go to newspapers.com, August 1st, 2002, every town in America and beyond have their names, blah, blah, blah. That night, they're like, Larry King Live went live. I was like, oops, we printed that story today. Their names are everywhere.
Right. I mean, wow. So how did they retract it then? Actually, it went in print.
Oh, well,
You
the
mean
ones
online?
on August 1st, the August 1st and August 2nd articles didn't. They were out. They were already hitting the printers.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of sources are from literally the first couple of days after the abduction.
Oh, and then they just didn't talk about it.
They just didn't talk about it. They either pulled it or they left their names blank or
that does stigmatize.
Yeah. And then it was only until their parents signed a waiver and said you can release their names and faces that articles kind of started gearing up again, but not really. It was maybe the media was too scared because this is the first time this has really happened. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Until they did a 48 hours in January 2003, which is oddly enough cannot be purchased. Like it's unavailable now. So I'm like,
huh. That's weird. What badasses?
They're badasses.
Do we don't know much about them right now?
No.
I assume they're best friends.
Oh, I'm sure they are. That
they are badasses.
Yes. And
they might be bounty hunters now. I mean, I don't know. They're like, they really performed well under pressure is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Very smart.
Good job.
Custom shout outs. First one's from Jamie. My shout out is to my best friend of 33 years, my mom, Patty Pooh.
Mom?
Yeah.
M-U-M?
M-U-M.
Hell yeah.
You're my rock, the best person in the world and total badass. Always know that I love you and I can never explain how appreciative I am of you. Thank you. I'm like clearly reading it. I'm sorry. Thank you for always being there and now being a PAT Dubs partner in crime. I finally have someone to share my crazy true crime obsession with. Love you, bitch. Love both of you.
Love both you bitches.
Yeah, Patty and Jamie. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Next one's from Kathy. I want to shout out my favorite people ever, Joni B and Karen. I'm so excited to be driving to Atlantic City with you guys and for our Falls girl trip.
Oh, fun.
These trips mean everything to me. Thanks for being the best mom and sister ever. I love you, Joni B. If it's raining out, this is your command to slow down.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Big bucks, no whammies, she says. All right.
Oh, yeah. Drive safe.
Please. I want to set girls trip. God.
It feels like we've been working on one for 2 years now.
I know. Next one's from Deborah. My shout out is to y'all. You don't
Thank you. You don't have to do that.
I know. This is by far the best podcast I've ever listened to. Your comic timing is impeccable. Oh, thank you.
Wait till we're in person.
For real. God, it's going to be so much better.
Nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet.
It really will be so much better. I've laughed and cried with y'all. I totally heard elevator legs and classy misdemeanors. I forgot about classy misdemeanors.
Oh my God. Classy misdemeanors.
I'm going to save that for merch.
Good.
Classy misdemeanors. Because it was supposed to be class E. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. Or class C. It's class C.
Oh, class C. Felony.
ABC.
That's probably
felony.
What it was.
I don't know if we go to E.
Yeah, we don't go to E. Y'all are like therapy sometimes. I love y'all. I love y'all are not over dramatic. Have you heard us cry in every single episode? But those are warranted. But
yeah,
right.
Come on.
Thank you for not dropping hints. Oh, she loves that we're not cheesy too. Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks.
I like that review.
The goal is to not be cheesy. So that
God,
it really means a lot.
I feel like that's not in our nature. So I hope we wouldn't come off as cheesy ever. Last one's from Morgan. We are a mother-daughter pair that just love to listen to PATW. I wanted to say happy Mother's Day to my mom, Jocelyn. Oh, Morgan, you're late.
Wait.
Jocelyn, I'm sorry that Morgan forgot about Mother's Day.
Maybe there's a different... Wait,
no,
maybe...
I'm just kidding. She bought the membership for her mom on actual Mother's Day. She only submitted this custom shout out a little late. So...
Oh, okay. So it's new.
She submitted it like June 22nd. So we're not that far down.
That's past Mother's Day. Well, at least here, maybe Mother's Day is different in different places.
Oh yeah, maybe she's elsewhere. I have no idea. No, but she actually bought the thing on Mother's Day, the membership. So.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for instilling the love of true crime in me. You're the bestest. Jocelyn, you're the best. And
Happy
Morgan,
Mother's Day.
Happy belated Mother's Day.
Y'all rock.
Y'all rock. Patrons: Rebecca, Genevieve, Rachel, Miranda, Teresa, Tiara, Bethany, Melissa, Maggie, Deja, Melissa, another Melissa, Joni, Alicia, Jamie, Yvonne, Tony, Ashley, Katie, Jordan, Kate, Victoria, Ashley, Claire, and Gail.
Damn, thank y'all.
Thank y'all so much.
Rebecca and Rachel are in there. That's crazy.
I know.
Love it.
Y'all are the best. People are the worst.
The worst.
Bye.
Bye.